I wanted to talk to you about the reopening of county offices. But first, I would like to make a statement. I, like many of you, have watched with horror what happened to George Floyd. And what we saw was a murder on television, and we saw others stand around and do nothing about that. And I am heartbroken at the loss of life. And somewhere in America, we have to get back to where every life is valuable. I think we're all, as the Bible says, fearfully and wonderfully made by the hand of God, and life is not something that should be treated lightly. And so my heart is broken for the family. I've watched as well the protest, and I believe that peaceful protests are appropriate, and they're certainly right. People need to be heard on this matter. But when it goes from peaceful protest to anarchy and chaos and the destruction of buildings, I think that's inappropriate as well. So I just wanted to mention that because I wanted everyone to understand. I wanted you guys to know that I completely understand the dynamics of where we are as a nation, and uh, and we're at pretty fragile times. I wanted to talk to you about our county offices reopening. Today's June the 1st, and many of our county offices have reopened as of 8 o'clock this morning. As most of you know, we have some 1,800 employees in some 50 plus different buildings across Williamson County. Uh, but I want to be unequivocally clear. Most of these employees were serving even during the pandemic. We didn't stop our law enforcement service. We didn't stop our correctional service. We didn't stop our criminal justice system. Our court system adapted and functioned brilliantly during the pandemic, and they'll function again brilliantly as they adapt back to some in-person court proceedings. So we've had a lot of folks that worked during the pandemic and maybe did and performed other tasks, and they're drifting back to their original job. And so really grateful for the flexibility of our team. But it's time for us to get back to work and to serve the people of Williamson County. All of our tax offices are open this morning as of 8 a.m. I think you have to make appointments to get in there, or if you get in, you can schedule an appointment in our tax offices. Our trails and parks are open here in Williamson County from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and we're following the governor's order that they not be beyond the capacity of 25% capacity. Our veterans services, which really matters to me, they're up and running, and most of their contacts they're doing over the phone with our veterans. And if you remember, during the pandemic, we set up a phone bank system and did outbound calls. I think we made about 5,800 calls, isn't that right, Connie? About 5,800 calls out to veterans. So we want to continue to take care of our veterans and serve our veterans. Our veterans, though, are the ones that are really used to coming into the office for in-person contact. And so we're really focused on how we can meet those needs. Our jail continues to function with the new adaptation of the governor's order, I believe, from last week, where there are no visitors allowed in any jail system in Texas until he lifts that order. Our county attorney, our county clerk, our district attorney are all functioning. Some have staff in office, some have staff working remotely. I have to tell you anecdotally, I got a complaint the other day on, I think it was Facebook or maybe Twitter, of someone who had to wait 3 days to get in to get their wedding license. And then I found out during the entire pandemic that we were still issuing wedding license. You just had to have an appointment. And what her complaint was that we were the only county in Central Texas providing wedding license. And it was unfair that people from other counties should get to come to Williamson County to get their license. And my thought was, hey, you know what? We're here to serve the people of Texas. And our county clerk, Nancy Reister, did an amazing job. One of the more complicated areas for us to get restarted really is our JP courts, our justice courts, and I'll explain why. As you know, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court issued a stay order on all evictions notices and small claim debt cases, and those eviction orders have been lifted, and as of the 18th of this past month, people could begin to file evictions. So evictions have been backlogged, so to speak, for at least 3 or 4 months. Well, let me say that since the beginning of the pandemic, and unfortunately, I think we're going to see a spike in evictions for homes and apartments that are going to be coming through our justice courts. So we're going to watch our JP courts and obviously be there to support them and help them in every way that we can. Our county commissioners' offices all have functioning offices. Some are actually open this morning, and some are open by appointments. Our animal shelter, as you know, has been functioning really well, and even in the midst of COVID-19, we did a transition to our new administrator, our executive director, and our elections, human resources, purchasing, agri-life, county engineer, juvenile justice, and our constables' offices are all moving back to their regular status. I would ask for some patience, though, in one area. Our elections office, um, that particular building, you may or may not be aware of, is currently under remodeling. And we were trying to have that building remodeled and ready to go by no later than the 1st of October for the fall elections. But we currently have remodeling going on. We took those employees and all of their technology, and we took them out to use in other areas during the height of the pandemic. And now we've put those resources back in there. But elections is going to be complicated and a little different um, than it has been in the past, in that you see the governor, I believe, added an extra week to early voting. But now we as a county have an obligation to make sure that our machines are clean and that folks are safe coming in and out of polling and voting locations. So we're having to work on that to protect our citizens. But that election actually starts pretty soon. Early voting starts, I believe, in June. And Connie's going to look that up, but our early voting starts for June. So our elections is making great adjustments and shifts. You just be patient with them as they adapt to this new world order that we're kind of living in with COVID-19.